Brooklyn, New York. The streets were never silent. The hum of cars, the distant sirens, the shouting vendors on the corner, all mixed together like a restless symphony. For most people, this was just background noise. But for Ethan Walker, 22 years old, it was a constant reminder of where he came from, a place that refused to give him peace. Ethan's apartment was no more than a cracked ceiling, peeling walls, and a window that looked out onto the fire escape. His mother worked double shifts as a diner waitress. His father had disappeared years ago, leaving behind only a memory that Ethan didn't bother to recall anymore. Every morning at 4:30 a.m., Ethan pulled on his janitor uniform. His job was in a downtown Manhattan office building, where shiny elevators carried men in suits to the top floors, while Ethan stayed behind, mopping the lobby. He hated the way people looked through him, as if he were invisible. But still he smiled. Still, he whispered to himself, "One day, I won't just clean the floors of a building. I'll build something that will light up the whole city." Because deep inside Ethan's mind, there lived a dream. Since childhood, he had been obsessed with electricity, wires, batteries, anything that could spark light in the darkness. He remembered being 13 when a blackout struck Brooklyn, and the entire neighborhood fell into pitch darkness. Kids cried, old folks stumbled, fear filled the air. Ethan had sat by the window with a broken flashlight, trying desperately to fix it with old wires. He failed, but that night, a fire started in him. A fire to one day create an invention that would never let the darkness win. The problem was, dreams didn't pay rent. At the end of his shift, Ethan would sit on the subway, his hands blackened from cleaning chemicals, his eyes half shut from exhaustion. Around him, people scrolled on shiny iPhones. Businessmen talk about deals worth millions. Ethan sat silently, holding a second-hand notebook filled with sketches, circuits, diagrams, impossible ideas. He knew he wasn't educated enough. No fancy college, no degree, just a kid from Brooklyn with dirty shoes and a stubborn dream. That evening, as he stepped off the subway, he saw a group of teenagers on the corner. They were his old friends, kids who once dreamed like him, but now they stood smoking, laughing, talking about easy money from hustling on the streets. "Yo, Ethan," one of them called. "Still playing with your little toy machines? Man, forget that. Nobody from here makes it big. Come with us tonight. Easy cash, bro. No need to kill yourself with that mop." Ethan paused. For a moment, he wanted to say yes. For a moment, he felt the weight of his empty wallet, the bills at home, his tired mother. But then he looked at his notebook, the sketches of his invention. He tightened his grip. "No," he said quietly. "I've got something to build." They laughed, shaking their heads. "Dreamer boy," one of them sneered. "Brooklyn will eat you alive." But Ethan kept walking. His heart pounded. But inside that pounding was a whisper, the same whisper that kept him alive every single day. One day they'll see. One day, the darkness won't win. That night, in his tiny apartment, with only a broken lamp flickering above his desk, Ethan opened his notebook again. He began to sketch. His hands trembled from fatigue. His eyes burned with sleep, but he refused to stop, because in the shadows of Brooklyn, Ethan Walker had decided this was only the beginning. The winter wind in Brooklyn was sharp, cutting through Ethan's thin jacket as he walked home one late night. His hands were numb, but inside his backpack was something that made his chest warm with hope. A small box of salvaged electronic parts he had bought from a junkyard with the last $40 he had. On the crowded subway ride back, people stared at his dirty backpack, probably wondering why anyone would carry broken wires, burnt-out batteries, and old circuit boards. To them, it was trash. To Ethan, it was gold. That night, after his janitor shift, Ethan spread the parts across his kitchen table. His mother was already asleep, her body worn from 12 hours on her feet at the diner. The old apartment smelled of fried grease and cleaning soap, but Ethan didn't notice. His mind was alive. He worked until dawn. With nothing but a soldering iron, some pliers, and his wild imagination, Ethan tried to build a small prototype, a portable light that could run on almost nothing. His idea was to create an energy source that charged itself from tiny movements, vibrations, even footsteps. Something cheap, something for people who couldn't afford big power bills. When the first spark flickered in the wires, his heart almost burst. He imagined entire streets glowing because of this invention. Children doing homework under its light. His mother resting, without worrying about the electricity bill. But then the spark fizzled. A sharp pop echoed, and smoke curled into the air. The circuit was dead. Damn it! Ethan slammed his fist against the table. It wasn't the first failure. He had burned out at least 6 prototypes in the last year. Each one died before it could even breathe life. Each time, Ethan's hope cracked a little more. He buried his face in his hands. What am I doing? He thought. I don't have a degree. I don't have money. Maybe they're right. Maybe Brooklyn will eat me alive. The next morning, with red eyes and no sleep, Ethan still dragged himself to work. He cleaned the same shiny marble floors, emptied trash cans filled with coffee cups and crumpled business reports. Nobody noticed his tired face. Nobody cared. But that evening, as he walked out of the building, something strange happened. An old security guard, Mr. Alvarez, stopped him at the door. "Kid," he said in his heavy Puerto Rican accent, "I see you always carrying that notebook. Always writing. Drawing. What is it?" Ethan hesitated. Nobody ever asked him that before. Slowly, he pulled out the notebook and showed the sketches. Circuits, energy cells, strange designs that looked like something out of science fiction. Mr. Alvarez whistled. "You trying to build this?" "Trying," Ethan said softly. "But I keep failing." The old man chuckled. "Failing is good. Means you're moving. Listen, kid, my brother. He works at a repair shop in Queens. He's got tools better than whatever you're using. Maybe you should visit him. Who knows?" Ethan stared, surprised. For the first time, someone didn't laugh at his dream. For the first time, someone believed he was more than a janitor. That night, as he rode the subway home, Ethan's eyes were tired, but his soul was burning again. Yes, he had failed. But maybe, just maybe, failure was not the end. Maybe it was the first step. And deep inside, he made himself a promise. I don't care how many times it takes. I'll keep trying until the darkness loses.